The last guest of Silent Hollow dust danced in ghostly spirals beneath the car's headlights, painting grotesque shadows on the dilapidated road. Mark, with his camera firmly held in his lap, swallowed. Silent Hollow, read the rusted sign, half buried in the undergrowth. A chill ran down his spine, despite the sweltering heat of the summer night. Mark was an avid explorer of abandoned places, a tourist of the macabre, as he liked to say. He had read about Silent Hollow in an online forum dedicated to paranormal phenomena. It was said that the town had been abandoned suddenly in the mid-20th century, shrouded in rumors of satanic cults and demonic presences. The most chilling legend spoke of open doors, portals to hell that manifested during the night. Despite the skepticism he professed, the story had hooked him. He needed to see it for himself, to capture the essence of desolation and mystery with his lens. The town, or what remained of it, was worse than he had imagined. Dilapidated buildings, with boarded-up windows and doors hanging from rusted hinges. The silence was sepulchral, occasionally interrupted by the moan of the wind whistling through the gaps in the walls. Mark got out of the car, the camera already on. He began to walk down the main street, recording every detail: the rusty swing on the porch of a house, the broken toys scattered in the garden, the church with the half-collapsed tower that stood like an accusing finger toward the sky. Suddenly, a prolonged howl echoed in the distance, a guttural and savage sound that chilled the blood. Mark stopped dead in his tracks, feeling a knot in his stomach. Wolves, he thought, trying to rationalize the fear. But there was something about that howl, an unnatural resonance, that made it sound different. He continued walking, delving deeper into the heart of the town. In a deserted square, he found a dry fountain, covered in moss and vines. Beside it, a statue of an angel, with its face disfigured by time and vandalism, seemed to watch him with a somber expression. Around the fountain, he noticed strange symbols painted with what appeared to be dried blood. They were intricate geometric shapes, intertwined with ancient runes that he didn't recognize. A chill more intense than the last ran down his spine. This was no longer a simple urban exploration. Suddenly, he heard laughter. It wasn't human laughter, but a screeching, macabre cacophony that echoed in the air, coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Mark spun on his heels, searching for the source of the sound, but found only dancing shadows and silence. The laughter ceased as suddenly as it had begun, leaving behind an even more terrifying void. Mark felt the atmosphere thicken, as if the air became dense and oppressive. He had the feeling of being watched, that something invisible was stalking him among the ruins. He decided to return to the car, but as he turned around, he discovered that the road was blocked. A tall, thin figure, shrouded in shadows, stood before him. He couldn't make out its features, only the dark silhouette silhouetted against the pale moonlight. The figure moved, gliding towards him with unnatural speed. Mark stepped back, tripping and falling to the ground. He tried to get up, but his legs wouldn't respond. The figure stopped a few feet from him. Silence reigned again, a silence charged with unbearable tension. Then, the figure spoke. Its voice was a chilling whisper, a mixture of moans and clicks, as if it were composed of the voices of thousands of tortured souls. "Welcome to hell." Mark screamed, a scream choked by terror. The figure extended a bony hand toward him, and suddenly, everything around him began to change. The ruins vanished, replaced by a hellish landscape of fire and brimstone. Grotesque demons, with twisted horns and flaming eyes, emerged from the shadows, surrounding him with their sharp claws. The heat was unbearable, the stench nauseating. Mark felt his skin burning, his lungs filling with smoke. He tried to escape, but he was trapped, surrounded by a multitude of infernal creatures who looked at him with an insatiable thirst. One of the demons approached him, with a cruel smile that revealed rows of sharp teeth. "You have opened the door, mortal," the demon hissed. "Now you will pay the price." Mark closed his eyes, expecting the worst. But then, everything disappeared. The fire, the demons, the infernal voice. He found himself back in the square, in front of the dark figure. The figure vanished into the night, leaving him alone in the ghost town. Mark got up, trembling, feeling his sanity slipping through his fingers. He ran to the car, started it, and stepped on the accelerator, driving away from Silent Hollow as fast as he could. He never spoke again of what he had seen. He kept the photos and videos in a box, burying them deep in his closet. But the image of the dark figure, the chilling voice, and the vision of hell haunted him in his nightmares forever. Years later, a new urban explorer found Mark's box. Curious, he looked at the photos and videos, unaware of the horror they contained. He decided to visit Silent Hollow, attracted by the legend and the promise of the unknown. Upon arriving in the ghost town, he felt a chill, a premonition that something terrible awaited him. But curiosity outweighed fear, and he ventured into the ruins, seeking the truth behind the legend. In the square, in front of the dry fountain, he heard a howl in the distance. A macabre laughter echoed in the air. And a chilling voice whispered, "Welcome to hell." The doors of Silent Hollow were open, waiting for their next guest. The cycle of terror continued, fueled by curiosity and the search for the macabre. Because sometimes, it's best to let the dead rest in peace, and not awaken the demons that lurk in the darkness. Hell waits patiently, inviting those foolish enough to knock on its door.